Chapter 3 Military School. Due to the war between humans and the Daki, every person when they reached the age of 16 was required to go to military school for 2 years. Even though humans and Daki were in a peaceful period, everyone knew that it wouldn't last forever. Every day there was news of one race antagonizing the other and war felt like it could start at any moment. Quinn quickly went to the toilet before heading off with Sergeant Griff. His bladder felt like it was going to burst any second now due to all the water he drank. Once Quinn stepped out of his room into the outside world, something strange happened. A new notification screen had appeared. Your body is being hit by direct sunlight. You are affected by the sunlight. All stats will be halved while in the sunlight. Suddenly, Quinn's body felt extremely sluggish. It felt like he had just gone for a 5K run and returned. His arms and legs felt heavier and there was nothing he could do about it. Quinn then went to check his status and saw that his stats did indeed go down by half, but it wasn't just his stats but his HP as well. HP 5/5, Strength 5/5, Stamina 5/5, Agility 5/5. What kind of drawback is this? Quinn thought. Then a new notification had appeared. You have received a new daily quest. Avoid direct sunlight for 8 hours. Reward 5 EXP. Quinn's mood slightly changed as soon as he saw the new daily quest. Unlike the water one, this was something he was able to do naturally just by sleeping. If the system worked the same way it did in games, then that meant once Quinn had reached 100 express points he would be able to level up and also level up his stats. So the more daily quests Quinn got, the better it was for him. What are you doing walking so slowly? The school will eat you alive if you carry on like that. Griff shouted. Finally, Quinn had reached a large bus which was parked just outside his house. When he entered the bus, he noticed that it was already full of students all the same age as him. He didn't recognize any of the students though, meaning they had all come from a different school. Quinn then went to sit at the front of the bus, which was the only seat that was still available. Stats have returned to normal. As soon as Quinn had entered the bus and avoided the direct sunlight, his stats had returned to normal and his body felt re-energized once again. Well, at least it looks like it's only direct sunlight. The students were all talking to each other in excitement, but that quickly stopped as soon as Sergeant Griff came on board. Alright, it's time for us to head to the military academy. The bus then started to move and the students were finally on their way. The bus remained silent during the journey. Whenever a student would start to speak, Griff immediately would look in their direction and the student would shut up. Griff didn't even have to say anything, they all knew what he wanted just by looking at him. Then about 10 minutes into the journey, Quinn once again received another message. A substance in the air has been detected. You are feeling sleepy. Resistance +1. Quinn found this message quite strange, and then when he started to look around the bus, he noticed that nearly all of the students were either asleep or dozing off. Suddenly, even his own eyelids started to feel dizzy. Your resistance to the substance has increased. Resistance +1. Then the sound of loud footsteps could be heard coming towards him. As he looked up, he noticed Sergeant Griff hovering above him. Looks like a few of you were able to resist the sleeping gas. Then we will just have to bag you. A black bag was then thrown on top of Quinn's head and his vision now was completely covered. The gas started to slowly seep through and Quinn managed to doze off into a nice sleep. Then the next moment, Quinn could feel a splash of cold water being chucked on his face. His eyes opened instantly and all he could see was the green grass. He and several other students started to lift their heads to look around them. There were currently a total of 200 students stood out on a plain open field, but when they looked around they were in a place that was completely foreign to them. This is where you will spend the next 2 years of your life. The students were amazed at what they were seeing. They were currently in a city like they had never seen before. Everyone was dressed up in military uniform and there were technology and engineering around them that was too advanced for their time. Giant robots moving crates and building machines. Flying ships, and levitating trains. It was a technology that hadn't been given to the outside world yet and was kept for the military only. After the first war with the Daki race, the humans had managed to make leaps in technological advancement. This was because they had managed to salvage equipment from them after the war, but of course, the military decided to keep most of it for themselves. When Quinn finally stopped being amazed at his surroundings, he noticed that there was something placed around his wrist. It looked similar to a digital watch, but there was nothing displaying on the screen. That there on your wrist is your lifeline. It will identify you as a student at this military base. It will allow you to access certain areas, pay for food and all sorts. It is your lifeline at this academy. That isn't the only thing that it will display though. When not in use, the wristwatch will display a single number, and that number is your power level. As soon as Quinn heard those words, he gritted his teeth and clenched his fist. He thought his life might change was coming to military school, but it seemed like it was going to be the same even here. With that, we will immediately begin the level test for you all. Good luck. Griff said with a smile on his face.